Craig. I'm currently travelling around the world with Donna in our Tischer truck camper. So if you're thinking of buying one, this video is probably for you, because we couldn't really find any content online. Lots of people in motorhome shows and showing you around one, but not actually seeing how it works when you live full time in one. And most people won't live full time in one. We're currently travelling around the world, currently in Bulgaria. So yeah, we just thought we'd take a break. We've been travelling solidly for 6 months and have a wee reorganise, because what you think you're going to set off with is not what you end up needing. And hopefully you can learn something from the video, so enjoy. So the first thing to talk about really is the truck. We chose a Toyota Hilux, and to be fair, it's after a rocky start. We bought a car from Poland with it's a left hooker, left-hand drive, because we're spending most of our time in Europe and we're going to be in America, Central America, Southern America. It makes sense to have the steering wheel over that side of the truck. And yeah, basically had it imported to the UK. Which is an expensive way of doing things, but it's been absolutely the right truck for the job. It carries the weight no problem at all. It's a manual, four-wheel drive. We've had it off-road without the camper obviously, but it's doing a sterling job of carrying this thing. Servicing's easy. Toyota service stations all over the world. A lot of them a lot cheaper than the UK as well, so we're finding out that's quite good. And so far the truck's been fantastic. So yeah, Toyota Hilux all the way to carry this thing. I'm going to start with the exterior of the camper. Basically what we have here, a few bits and pieces: electrical input, water input. We use a Seagull water system because we're constantly living in the truck, as I said, and this filters our water a bit like, you know, a microfilter. And keeps everything absolutely spot on, so we can drink straight from the tap. It has a 100-litre tank inside and a 40-litre waste tank. We tend to really sort of fill the water up twice a week, so it's constantly flowing through and it hasn't been a problem for us. Here we have an exterior gas tap, which is one of our most used features actually. We cook outside most nights in the truck, and that works a treat. In this cupboard here we have the gas flow system. Little water coming off because I washed it the other day. Basically the gas flow system works a treat. We can get filled up anywhere through this valve here. All you need is an adapter for the European country you're in. So far they've all been the same, but yeah, sitting with full tanks at the moment, and it's not a problem. Electric hookup, as I said, and your water outlet. On the other side of the truck, it's something we never thought we'd use, and boy have we used this. This is a shower outlet. I'll show you it working later on, but the shower is absolutely phenomenal on this thing. If you're down by a river or you come off a beach, you just plug it in. It's hot and cold water, and yeah, we've used that a lot more than we thought we would. It's been really great. Down in this section here we have the garage, and I'll show you exactly what the garage holds. Another great section. It runs, I don't know if you can see that, but it runs the whole length of the camper, and I can show you that in a minute with the water tank. But yeah, valuable space running the whole back end. So this is the stuff we can get in the garage. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a great place for it. Some walking sticks, umbrella for a beach obviously, the hose, the electrical wiring. There's 2 sockets there, one for European, one for UK. They are a must should you run into a campsite that just has a normal socket on it instead of the 16 amp socket. Fiamma blocks, which we use for levelling the truck. It's a lot quicker than getting the legs up and down. A couple of tables, one for eating at and one for the barbecue setup, which I'll show you later on. But yeah, basically all of that goes in the garage. And so to the inside, we've stripped it back to the bare bones. On the door we have a nice blackout screen. As you enter, we have a slack line, but that basically shows you the length of the garage as well. But this is a 40 litre waste tank, which if one thing I'd change, you know, I mean, I'd make it slightly larger, because obviously with a 100 litre feed tank you need to empty this way faster than before you run out of water. So a note for anyone at Tischer if they're watching this, but I'm sure it's all to do with the weight. As we move on in, fire extinguisher and a carbon monoxide alarm. Sort of crucial for small spaces with gas. And into the bathroom. The bathroom and the shower are working really well. This particular model has an Alde Heating System, or Alde, which I'll show you in a minute. But basically it's a radiator system, not hot blown air. The only criticism we would have after living in this van is the sink goes up to go away, which is great because then you can use the toilet. However, if you leave any water, it can ingress into here and get between the laminate and the ply, which we've found has happened in the early days of travel. So we've fixed it up as best we can, and we keep a proper eye on it to make sure no water goes in. Plenty of storage up here. To be honest, most of the stuff's in the apartment at the moment because we're basically cleaning the whole place out. But you get the idea. Donna's toiletries go up there, a couple of spare towels. You've got a towel rack here. And the shower is fantastic. It works very, very well. Can't complain at all. Also, we have a vent here, which is useful. Lets the steam out, and yeah, does its job. On the inside, I've stripped it back to the bare bones. So you have this little unit here, which is great. We have our tea, coffee and sugar here, which is handy in transport. Bits and pieces that we just want to grab as we go out the door. We've added these, which is basically hats and gloves and useful stuff like a fly swatter for the mozzies. And it's just basically a little additional holders, sun cream and mosquito stuff, bin bags, that you find you need as you start travelling. Everybody adds these sort of things to the van, and that's what this sort of tour is all about. It's just the little extras you'll probably find you need. On the interior, we've stripped it back for storage. No one really explains how this works and how it's held onto the truck. So we have these are the anchor bolts, and there's two slots down here. And as you can see, that's outside. So what would normally be there obviously is a truck. And one hooks onto the truck, one hooks onto the camper, and that secures it in its space. And in here, you've got plenty of storage for shoes or whatever you want. We keep all our stuff in here. In here are the two batteries. I fitted a 2,500 watt inverter so we can use a hairdryer on the road. We've got two lithium Renogy batteries, which are fantastic. These can hook up to an app, and Nolan at NSR Leisure can hook you up with these things. They're not standard from Tischer, but they work very, very well. And there's an app that tells you what sort of usage. We're off grid most of the time, and so far they've been pretty reliable. The lowest we've got them down to is like 40%, and lithium can go down to 20%, but as soon as we start the engine they start charging again, so we can go 3 days solid off grid, and that's before we start to run into problems with toilets and water and stuff like that. Underneath here is the heating system that I told you about, and this is more expensive, but this is phenomenal. You know, it's instant hot water. We've got the pump down here. We've got the Alde Compact 3020 HE, and these here are the radiator pipes, and they run through the whole cabin. You can see them just underneath here in the vents, and basically it heats the whole place, including the garage. So this van is good for minus 35 degrees apparently, and we plan on going to Alaska. Other people won't have these needs, but It's something that you don't see in the other videos, because when we tried to do our research to buy these, it was almost impossible to find anything out about them, and you're sort of buying blind, so hopefully this will answer a lot of people's questions. In here, this is a trickle charger, again, quite unusual, never seen one before like this, Votatronic, and the online manual was fantastic. The guys and the support from this company were really good when I wanted to balance the batteries, because I was reading up about it, and the responses were almost instant, so that was great. And then you have the radiator system running behind there as well, and that's a little bleed pipe, so if it ever needs air, you just bleed it from there. Up here above the bed, you've got some storage. We get books in there, we charge our phones in there overnight, you know, we find it ample. Got a wardrobe space here, and then this is a fridge, and it's served its purpose. Could do with being a little bit larger, but what can you do? You've got the space that you've got, and that's it. It works for us. Cutlery drawer, which works. It tended to pop open. Again, Tischer, if you're listening, could do a better lock. We had to fit this to stop it moving in transport. Sink and the 3 hob burner. What can I say? You can use 1 or 2 at max at any one time. The sink's fine, it does its job, and this we tend to use to cook outside most of the time anyway, so we boil the kettle in here in the morning. 2 cupboards. Again, mostly empty because everything's inside in the apartment just now. We keep our plates, cups here, tin goods here, fresh goods here, salt, sauces, peppers, all that sort of stuff. It works for us, and we're travelling full time, as I say. Most people will be weekend warriors, and yeah, it tends to work quite well. This side, on the storage, we use packing cubes, and we've both got all our clothes in here for our travels, and it tends to work as well. Socks, tops, shorts, trousers, there's more than enough space. When we started in the UK, we had an EE contract with internet, so it's basically mobile internet on the go, which worked very well. It doesn't work in Europe, so that's their first show. The large windows are fab. They've got your typical fly screen and your blackout screen, and that goes for all the windows as well. All the windows have fly screens and blackout screens, and you've seen it before, I'm sure. And yeah, that's about it. Moving on to the bed, let me just put all this stuff back together again. So, on the bed, full-size double bed with the support system, and I have to say it's the comfiest bed I've ever slept in my life. We've been sleeping in this 6 months. I'm 6'4". I do sleep slightly diagonally across it, but the bed's phenomenal. It's really, really comfy. More so than the apartment we're staying in just now, to be honest. And yeah, sleep really well, as long as there's not a thunderstorm. But yeah, pretty good. Can't complain. Moving on to the seating area. We have the Laguna table, which comes as standard in these things. Moves all over the place. We can move it out the way over there if we're putting our feet up, or if we're eating. It'll sit there quite happily between the two of us. You get this little handy drawer here, which goes in there, and hold on. In its natural habitat, it's basically we use it for bits and pieces, tea towels and stuff like that. And the odd bottle of wine will sit in there before it goes in the fridge, and yeah, handy little storage. Underneath here, there's a couple of inches as well, which I keep my tripods in, which are handy, so it's a little bit of safe, secure storage. Underneath the floor, we have the Hoover and a hot water bottle. And basically this is our important travel documents, bits and bobs and little things, you know, extension cables and stuff you need. But again, another good storage area, which is handy. In the 2 cupboards below here, we have some more storage as well. This is pots and pans and kettles, but you could find something to put in there if you wanted to keep your valuables hidden away. And then there's a cleaning cupboard where we keep the bleach and the cleaning cloths and the bin bags. So everything has its place and it all works rather well. So far so good. As I say, 6 months constant travel, little things we've added and little things we've sort of lived with. The covers you see are protection covers. They're not the actual original finish. The Tischer ones are much nicer. But we keep these covers on just to keep them good, so to speak. But yeah, one thing I haven't mentioned is the control panel here. Now we did have a failure in Italy. If you've watched our YouTube channel, we had to drive from Italy to Germany. We went to Tischer and they replaced us before we'd even finished our coffee. But this is the Alde Heating System. Very, very simple, very, very straightforward. Works a treat, gives us instant hot water. If we want a long shower, for example, tap that button there and it'll heat up the water for extra hot. Make it, but we don't need it. We don't even use it for that. Down here you have your battery controls. You have how much water we have in the tank, 100% at the moment. 12 volt system, hot water pump, the water pump to run the water. And here is to run the exterior lights, of which there are 2. I'll show you them in a minute. But yeah, very, very straightforward. You've got your lighting control here as well. So all the lights are on dimmers as well. So you just hold them in and they dim. And yeah, everything works very well. We tend to keep it turned off when we're not in the truck. Sitting at this section, you can see the cooker on the left, you have a cupboard in front of you. And we keep this from shoes. I did have to get Donna down from 450 pairs of shoes to about 4. Most of them are in the house. But basically, great little storage. We keep our shoes in there. It works a treat. Behind is the Alde reservoir for the water tank. And we keep that topped up with antifreeze, because that's what it needs apparently, so I'm not going to question them. A couple of coat hooks, again most of the coats are inside. Not that we need any. It's been 30 degrees since we left the UK 6 months ago. We've had a ball. It's been very, very good, but you know, if I had to score it and give you a point system on it, I'd give it 8.5 out of 10. It's filling all our needs. Some little things we noticed, and you know, when we first started travelling, we got a couple of little dents in the work surface. Don't know if you can see them. They're very, very small, but they're there. And this was because some things fell out the cupboard when we were travelling because we hadn't secured them and we were learning our trade, so to speak. And since then we've stopped all that because we put a towel over here. So we have a towel in transit. Could do with being a little bit more robust, but I can understand why. It's all about keeping the weight down, isn't it? So, but a couple of little things like that, little dents and scratches, but generally it's been quite robust. The only real problem I've had was the water ingress in the toilet, and again that's human error on our part. You have to be very, very careful with the water. Other than that, it's been great. Living in it's very, very easy. Controlling the temperature. Air conditioning, would I? No, it's because the battery power air conditioning units consume, it's just horrendous. So we're getting by with events. It's very comfortable and we can't really complain. Everyone would like it to be bigger, but you know, size is always a compromise. So this is our cook system, and this is what I do most days. We set it up. So we just use a Cadak double gas burner. Obviously it doesn't have to be Cadak, but it works quite well. You've got a quick release there and a quick release here, sorry, the other one's a screw in, and the gas won't flow unless that's in, then it'll turn. If you have nothing attached, you can't move that, it won't turn on. A nice wee safety feature. But yeah, so basically we cook outside on a double gas burner most of the time and it works for us. So I'd say this is the most essential part of having a camper. Because that's what we're doing it for, isn't it? We're outside, we're travelling, we want to be able to cook outside or organise a barbecue of some sort. On the top of the truck we have two 120 watt solar panels, and they tend to do the trick for us. As long as you keep them clean, we clean them once a month, give them a proper clean, but other than that the rain does its bit and it seems to keep the power coming through, if that makes sense. On the rear of the truck, it's hard to show you, we have a Fiamma box. We never had bikes, so we fitted this Fiamma box and it carries some extra bits and pieces that are too big to go in the garage. We also had a reversing camera mounted, which is fantastic because it's on all the time. It's just like having a rear view mirror. From here we carry an extra toilet cassette because we can do 5 or 6 days on our own. Some wood for those campfire essentials. Underneath the wood, if you've seen any of our videos, is our outdoor cooking pot setup. A couple of helmets should we venture out on the scooters, and the collapse water system which is there, which drains off the water into a drain. So yeah, that tends to, not a lot of weight in there, but it's bulky stuff, and it allows us to carry a little bit extra. In the front of the truck we have lots of space behind us. This is a half cab. Now we have the 260 SD model. It's one of the larger truck campers from Tischer, and it has to go in a half cab. You can't put it on a double cab. But we have this space behind us in the seating area, and we fill this with clothes, you know, winter clothes and stuff like that, and we can switch between winter clothes and summer clothes. Underneath there there's some tools as well, and this is one of the only things we ever brought from the house, because it's sort of true, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's sort of true. So yeah, we keep that up behind the window there. But yeah, so basically a lot of storage in here again for winter clothes and summer clothes, and we switch them about depending on what we're wearing and where we are. So I think I've probably prattled on too much, but if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. And if this video has been useful to you, why don't you subscribe and like the video? It all helps. Our travels are just getting underway. We're 6 months in. We're in Bulgaria at the moment. They like their flags in Bulgaria, they're everywhere. If you are thinking of buying a Tischer camper or any sort of truck camper, drop us a comment, and hopefully we can answer your questions as best we can. Thanks very much for watching. Take care.